In the silent calculus of power, there are pawns, kings, and then there are forces that defy the board entirely. They are the variables that break the equation, the ghosts in the machine of social hierarchy. Their loyalty is a fortress of absolute steel, yet their opposition is a silent, creeping paralysis from which there is no recovery. This is the brutal paradox of the Sigma male, the reality that conventional minds fail to grasp until it is far too late. Welcome to the Sigma male community, the one place that understands this truth not as a threat, but as a fundamental law of nature. Today we are not discussing superficial traits or fleeting trends. We are dissecting the core operating system of the man who walks his own path, the man whose internal architecture is built on unshakable principles and radical self-reliance. We will explore the chilling efficiency of his enmity and the profound strategic depth of his alliance, revealing why he is the most dangerous variable in any power dynamic. This is not for the faint of heart. This is a masterclass in the silent language of power, a language spoken not with words, but with calculated action and unwavering resolve. 1. The silent executioner never threatens, always delivers. Forget the chest-thumping warnings and aggressive posturing of lesser men who mistake noise for impact. The Sigma operates in the realm of absolute certainty, not empty boasts, treating his intentions as classified information. His strategy is forged in the crucible of silence, his actions calibrated with the lethal precision of a master craftsman. While others waste precious energy and tactical advantage on loud declarations of war, he is already deep behind enemy lines, silently mapping the endgame and turning your most cherished strengths and hidden vulnerabilities into coordinates in his tactical database. He understands from a place of deep, stoic clarity that emotion is a corrupting agent in the mechanics of power. A threat is an emotional plea for a reaction. A delivered outcome is a statement of fact. You will not hear the war cry, for his battle is not a performance for an audience. You will only register the chilling, profound silence that descends after your influence, your platform, and your perceived power have been systematically and quietly dismantled. Your perception of control is the very illusion he so expertly exploits. The Sigma male allows you to believe you are winning, to indulge in the self-congratulatory noise of your own echo chamber, all while he methodically severs the support structures propping you up. By the time you finally grasp the scope and nature of his countermove, it is already a historical event. The infrastructure of your power lies in ruins around you, not from a chaotic explosion, but from a quiet, irreversible demolition executed with surgical skill. He does not need to announce his victories or gloat over your downfall, for his objective was never your humiliation, but the neutralization of a threat or the correction of an imbalance. He leaves you to discover the fallout in the cold, stark light of your new irrelevance, proving a timeless truth. True, lasting power needs no fanfare, only flawless, undeniable execution. 2. The architect of Ascension dismantles to rebuild beyond you. Engaging in a petty cycle of revenge is a game for emotional players, a distraction that consumes energy and yields no true growth. This is a battlefield the Sigma male refuses to step onto. His ultimate weapon against betrayal isn't retribution, it is radical, untouchable evolution. He does not stoop to drag you down into the mud you sling, for that would require him to descend to your level. Instead, he elevates himself to altitudes where your malice becomes an insignificant speck far below, starved of the oxygen of his attention. Your attack is not met with an emotional counterfire, but with an immediate and intense recalibration of his own reality. He doesn't waste time plotting against you. He invests that time in sharpening his focus, refining his skills, and constructing new empires of success that make your past connection to him utterly inconsequential. Your access to his world is not just denied, it is strategically and permanently severed. Your relevance is erased not through an act of rage, but through the cold, rational process of strategic exclusion. While you might be left festering in the noise and bitterness of your own making, he is silently reforging his peace, mastering new domains, and building impregnable structures of success that render your very existence a non-factor in his forward trajectory. His continued, undisturbed ascension is the consequence. Witnessing his unbothered growth from the isolated exile you created for yourself is the true soul-crushing repercussion of your actions. It is a constant, unspoken reminder of the alliance you burned, the value you discarded, and the future you foolishly forfeited. 3. The unshakable power core, self-sufficient, beyond external validation. The typical alpha, for all his dominance, is externally powered. He draws his strength from the pack, feeding off the energy of subservience, applause, and the constant validation of his status. His power grid is vulnerable, reliant on the approval of others. The Sigma male is different. His energy is nuclear, generated from a self-contained internal core. Crowds, titles, social accolades, and external validation are, to him, little more than atmospheric noise, distractions, not necessities. He chooses solitude not from a place of social anxiety or weakness, but because it is in the silent sanctuary of his own mind that he can amplify his intrinsic, unyielding focus. He is the master of his own internal state, a principle that lies at the heart of Stoic thought. This profound self-containment makes him terrifyingly resilient and immune to conventional forms of attack. You cannot starve him of the adulation that others crave, because he never hungered for it in the first place. You cannot weaken him through social exile, because he has already mastered the art of being alone and leverages it for growth. His fuel is pure, unadulterated outcome. His compass is his own internal conviction. Whether he is silently building an empire or methodically dismantling a threat to his principles, his power source remains independent, unwavering, and utterly immune to the fluctuating tides of popular opinion or the shifting allegiances of tribal loyalty. He stands alone, not in loneliness but in a state of sovereign power, because within that singularity lies an inexhaustible and untouchable reserve of will. For the ice-cold Erasure isolates through detached withdrawal. The most devastating and psychologically disruptive weapon in the Sigma male's arsenal is not fiery rage or overt aggression. It is absolute, glacial detachment. If you cross a line, betray a core principle, or prove yourself to be a liability, you should not expect a dramatic confrontation or a heated argument. Such displays are emotionally expensive and strategically pointless. Instead, you should expect silence. You should expect absence. He doesn't rage against you. He simply removes your relevance from his life's equation. This withdrawal is not a passive-aggressive tactic designed to elicit a response. It is a surgical, permanent, and unemotional verdict on your character. You have not angered him. You have simply failed the fundamental test of worthiness for a place in his proximity. This act of erasure is final. Any attempt to re-engage, to apologize, or to argue your case will be met not with anger or resentment, but with an impenetrable and indifferent void. You will find that the door has not been slammed, but has simply vanished as if it never existed. His vanishing act is not about punishing you. It is a Stoic act of preserving his own inner peace, integrity, and focus. The most chilling realization for the one who has been erased is that they have not been fought and defeated. They have simply been deemed irrelevant. You have not been made an enemy, you have been made a ghost. The deafening silence of his absence, the complete void where his presence used to be, becomes the eternal and haunting echo of your miscalculation. 5. The Fortress and the Phantom, ally unbreakable, enemy untraceable. To align with a Sigma male who has vetted and accepted you is to gain more than a simple ally. It is to gain an impenetrable living fortress. His strategic intelligence forms the unbreachable walls, his uncanny foresight constructs the watchtowers that see threats on horizons you cannot yet perceive, and his calm, rational demeanor provides the unshakable foundation that cannot be rattled by chaos. He doesn't just stand with you to guard your flank in a fight. He anticipates the fight before it begins, identifying and neutralizing dangers before they ever breach your awareness. His protection is a silent, proactive, and absolute ecosystem of security. He is the quiet partner who reinforces the structure of your entire operation, often without you ever realizing the full extent of the disasters he has calmly averted on your behalf. But should you fracture that trust, should you prove your alliance to be a liability to his core principles, the fortress does not crumble, it vanishes. The solid walls, the watchful towers, the steady foundation, all of it dissolves into mist. And what remains in its place is not an empty field, but a phantom armed with the very knowledge of the fortress he helped build. He withdraws not just his support, but the entire ecosystem of strategic defense and foresight he once provided. You are left utterly exposed, suddenly vulnerable to the very threats you never knew existed, realizing far too late the profound depth of the shield you have shattered. The ally was a bastion of unparalleled strength. The enemy becomes an untraceable, unpredictable force operating from the very shadows you never knew he had mapped around you. Let's be brutally clear. You are not watching this by accident. Whether you are a man who embodies the Sigma code or one who is attempting to decipher its power from the outside, your presence here on the Sigma Male Community Channel means you understand the stakes are higher than mere social games. This is not abstract theory. This is the fundamental operating system of the uncompromising man. The purpose of this transmission is not just to describe these truths, but to arm you with them. It is imperative that you learn to recognize these patterns in the world around you, to identify the true players who operate by this code. Your next move, whether it is forging an unbreakable high-value alliance or avoiding a catastrophic life-altering miscalculation, depends on grasping these realities at a bone-deep level. To underestimate this dynamic is not just naive, it is a form of tactical suicide in the silent war for sovereignty and success. Proceed with absolute clarity. 6. The principal sniper fights for conviction, not conquest. Forget the hollow pursuit of ego-driven dominance or the need to win for winning's sake. The Sigma male's formidable strength is not forged in the desire for conquest, but in the white-hot furnace of his unwavering principles. He does not engage in conflict to prove his superiority or to accumulate followers. He acts to defend the foundational beliefs that constitute his very identity. As an ally, this makes his protection incredibly fierce and reliable, but it is also conditional. He protects you because your mission, your character, or your cause aligns with his core values. He sees a reflection of his own principles in your endeavors, and he will defend that reflection with silent tenacity. His loyalty is to the principle, and you are its temporary beneficiary. However, the moment you violate one of those foundational principles, you have done more than merely disappoint him. You have declared yourself fundamentally incompatible with his operating system, like a virus in a clean-coded machine. His response is not one of emotional vengeance or wounded pride. It is a calculated, strategic termination of your threat to his internal order. Like a sniper, he has already calculated the distance, the windage, and the ultimate consequence of your actions. There will be no second warning, no theatrical showdown, no room for negotiation. There is only the cold, precise, and permanent removal of your presence from his sphere of influence. He eliminates the threat to his belief system with the same detached, rational efficiency a surgeon uses to excise a malignancy. 7. Solitude sharpening stone weaponizes isolation for growth. In a world that fears silence and equates solitude with failure, the Sigma male operates by a completely different set of rules. Where other men wither in the quiet, consumed by loneliness and a need for external stimulation, the Sigma transforms isolation into his personal forge. For him, time spent alone is not a state of exile, it is his most potent and essential upgrade cycle. While the constant noise of the crowd, the endless chatter of social media, and the demands of the tribe dull the perceptions and instincts of the average man, the Sigma's solitude hones his senses to a razor's edge. It is in this silence that he deepens his strategies, purges all mental and emotional distractions, and reconnects with his core purpose. Every moment of quiet is meticulously metabolized into greater clarity, sharper focus, and an enhanced capacity for effective action. To abandon him or to mistake his strategic retreat for weakness is one of the gravest errors you can make. You have not punished him. You have merely gifted him the precious raw material for his next evolution. He will re-emerge from that period of isolation not diminished or wounded, but fundamentally transformed. He will be purified of your influence, recalibrated for a higher level of operation, and moving with a purpose that renders your past betrayal a mere footnote in the story of his relentless ascent. Your absence becomes the very catalyst for his undeniable and often terrifying strength. 8. The ruthless reset builds or burns without flinching. Attachment to that which is compromised is a vulnerability the Sigma male cannot and will not afford. His ultimate superpower, the one that grants him true freedom, is his capacity for ruthless discernment and the courage to initiate a total reset. A tainted business partnership bleeding integrity, a disloyal relationship poisoning his peace, a comfortable lifestyle that erodes his core principles. He will walk away from any of these without a single backward glance. This is not an act of impulsiveness or fear. It is the result of an ironclad commitment to his own internal sovereignty and the unwavering clarity of his purpose. This allows him to maintain a state of mental resilience, unburdened by attachments that no longer serve his path. This radical self-sufficiency means he fears no void. Where others cling to broken situations out of a fear of loss or the unknown, the Sigma can torch a compromised present and confidently rebuild his entire world from absolute zero. The act of destruction is not an end. It is the necessary and deliberate clearing of land for a new, authentic creation. While others see only loss, ruin, and failure, he sees liberation and the fertile, ash-rich ground where true power, unburdened by compromise and dishonesty, can finally take root and flourish. He embraces the void without flinching because he knows, with absolute certainty, that he is the architect, and he can always build again, stronger and truer than before. 9. The uncompromising ledger forgives nothing, fakes nothing. Do not mistake the Sigma's calm demeanor for a soft heart or a short memory. Sentimentality and emotional reasoning have no place in his internal calculus. His memory operates like a flawless, incorruptible archive, not for the purpose of nurturing petty grudges, but for the practice of cold, hard, and objective risk assessment. If you cross him, betray his trust, or demonstrate a flaw in your character, you become a permanent data point in that archive. You are a lesson learned, a pattern identified, and a variable that will be permanently factored into all future equations. Forget about casual second chances or a high tolerance for repeated offenses. For him, patterns are not coincidences, they are revelations of character. Forgiveness, if it is ever offered, is a rare strategic anomaly, likely calculated for a greater purpose you cannot see, not an emotional release for his own sake. More often than not, the logical equation solves for your permanent and complete removal from his operational theater. There is no middle ground. He will never feign allegiance, mask his disdain with false pleasantries, or maintain a relationship that his internal ledger has marked as a liability. What you receive from him is precisely what your actions have earned, either a genuine, powerful alliance based on proven value and shared principles, or the absolute, unambiguous, and silent distance that reflects your demonstrated risk. There is no performance, only the unvarnished and uncompromising reality you have created. 10. The Grandmaster's Foresight strategizes 10 moves ahead. While most people live in a state of constant reaction, navigating the world by responding to events as they happen, the Sigma male is playing an entirely different game. He is already living 3 scenarios into the future while you are still processing the present. Every interaction, no matter how trivial it may seem, is a chessboard. Every word spoken, every moment of silence, and every subtle gesture is a calculated placement of a piece on that board. He is a master observer of human nature, reading micro-expressions, tracking behavioral patterns, and identifying hidden pressure points with a chilling and detached accuracy. He simulates potential outcomes in his mind long before the first move is ever made in reality. Emotions, impulses, and egos are not forces that drive him. They are simply variables that he calmly accounts for in others. As your ally, this incredible foresight manifests as preemptive shields, providing you with solutions to problems that are still invisible over your horizon. He is the partner who has already secured the perimeter while you are still drawing up the battle plan. But as your enemy, this same quality becomes a weapon of terrifying effectiveness. You are not engaging in a conflict with a person. You are stumbling blindly into a meticulously laid and complex trap that was designed and set long before you even knew a conflict existed. The battle is already lost in the quiet theater of his mind long before the first shot is ever fired in yours. 11. The sovereign entity exists beyond hierarchy, governed only by self. The Sigma male doesn't waste his energy rejecting or fighting against the common alpha/beta social hierarchy. He simply exists on a plane of reality where that hierarchy holds no power and has no meaning. He is the ultimate sovereign state, an autonomous, self-mastered entity, powered by an unwavering and absolute internal authority. The deep-seated human need for external validation, social approval, or the feeling of tribal belonging is a chain he shattered and discarded long ago. This does not make him antisocial, a common misunderstanding. It makes him asocial, operating on his own absolute terms. He engages with the social world as a diplomat from his own sovereign nation, interacting when it aligns with his purpose, and retreating into his own territory when it does not. He is his own system of governance, his own moral compass, his own arsenal, and his own salvation. This radical and uncompromising independence is precisely what makes him ungovernable, unpredictable to those who think in hierarchical terms, and ultimately unstoppable on his chosen path. He doesn't petition for a place within your reality or ask for permission to succeed. He defines and creates his own. His allegiance or his enmity is therefore not a social contract to be negotiated, but a force of nature to be respected. It is a direct consequence of his sovereign will, and whether you experience it as a protective shield or a destructive storm depends entirely on the principles you choose to live by. The Sigma male is not a persona to be worn, but an internal operating system to be earned through discipline, self-awareness, and a ruthless commitment to one's own principles. The duality of the fortress and the phantom, the ally and the enemy, is not a choice he makes in the moment. It is a reality that is dictated by the actions and character of those who enter his orbit. The truths we have dissected today are a map and a mirror. They map the landscape of silent power, and they reflect the man you are versus the man you have the potential to become. The path to this level of sovereignty is not easy. It demands the courage to stand alone, the wisdom to see the world as it is, and the strength to act with absolute conviction, free from the approval of the crowd. So let the silence that follows this video be your first training ground. Do not simply click away. Sit with these truths. Reflect on one single principle in your own life that you will, from this day forward, refuse to compromise for anyone or anything. What is it? Let that be your anchor. Now bring that insight to the community. Share your perspective in the comments below. Which of these brutal truths resonated most deeply with your own experience? Your insights sharpen the collective wisdom of this entire community and forge a stronger understanding for all of us. If you are truly committed to this path of unwavering self-mastery, then your journey continues right here with the Sigma Male community. Ensure you have subscribed and activated the notification bell, because our work in decoding the blueprint of true sovereign power has only just begun. You do not want to miss the next transmission. Stay sovereign. Stay vigilant. And remember, the most powerful man is the one who has completely mastered himself.